Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Mark Otabo, and you are watching The Big Issue. It is no longer strange to log on to the internet these days and be welcomed with news of someone who has committed suicide due to issues relating to depression. Now, if you're not familiar with the word depression, scientists say it is a common and serious mood disorder that alters how individuals think, feel, and behave, and this has led many people to taking their lives. Now, the causes of depression has also generated a debate. Now, some individuals feel this is solely a clinical issue that needs medical attention, and people who suffers from it has no control over it. While some do not agree with this submission, they feel depression is a choice, meaning every individual has control over their emotions, and the ability to manage it is what should be taken cognizance of. Now, what we do on The Big Issue is to find a means to an end. Should we totally rely on medical intervention to stop these menace, or should people begin to take control of their emotions and stay positive? Is depression a choice? Well, to flag it off, to discuss this, I have two great men in the house. Ivan Ofeli is a lawyer and a social commentator. Is saying, your life, your choice, the ability to take control of it will make you stay alive. He's saying depression is a choice. Come on, put your hands together for him. Come over. Well, you can do better than that right now. Thank you very much. All right. Now, on the other side of the divide is Benjamin Olowojebutu, the founder and executive director of the Benjamin Olowojebutu Foundation, a dream birthed by his love and compassion to help indigent people suffering from various diseases. Now, on the show today, Dr. Olowojebutu is saying depression is an illness that needs medical attention. Come on, put your hands together for him. Doctor, you can do better than that. All right, now we begin, and straight up, let's go to business. Now, doctor, I'll begin with you first. Now, you are saying depression is a clinical disorder that can be treated.
Yes.
Well, make your case very quickly.
Okay, depression is one of the clinical diseases in psychiatry, and we say it's a low mood, low energy. Most times it's induced by stress-related things. You know, most times things you've not done before, you've done, and you're exhaustive, or you get depressed about it. It's a clinical problem that needs clinical solutions, and seeking help on time will help you solve depression.
Okay, come on, put your hands together for him quickly. Fantastic. Seeking help in time. All right, Ivan Ofeli, you seem to be taking a different twist with this, and you're saying depression is a choice, and people need to actually motivate themselves out of certain situations to stay alive. And you want to make your case quickly.
Yes, I understand. I've read that the mind is the epicenter of the entire body system.
Okay.
And then the mind can be afflicted by a certain form of diseases and disorders. But I also understand that you can choose to control your mind positively to disabuse the disorders that you have resident in the activities. Depression, for example, can be orchestrated by socioeconomic factors, could be orchestrated by poverty, could be orchestrated by, there's a spiritual angle to it, and there's a medical angle to it, and there are other psychological angles to it. Okay. But ultimately, in the mix of depression, one can still find purpose to live. It is not the end of life, okay, because it is better to positively address the issues of disorder. Even in the hospitals, they will tell you that you need to put up a positive attitude. They will tell you that HIV is not a death sentence. They will tell you that tuberculosis is not a death sentence, because they want to get you motivated. And when you are motivated, it's easier to get this ailment, you understand, addressed and properly cured. We must also understand that you don't live for yourself only. You live for other persons. You also live for your relatives, you live for yourself, you live for other persons. Right. So it is practically unnecessary to, take your life as a result of depression.
Right.
Because I know that is where it edges people to, it pushes people to want to end it.
Right.
But I believe that you can control the situation. Right. You can decide to live. You can put all that positive attitude so that even when medical solution comes, it will be easier to get over it than to give up, even on the medical situation. It will be difficult to really bring your spirit back to get
Thank
healing.
you very much. Come on, put your hands together for him. Well, thank you very much. Now, Doctor, you hear what Evan said. He said people have control over it. Now, if that is the case, doesn't it bring us to the point where we now say depression is a choice?
No, I don't agree. One of the things that has affected people now in this part of the world is not seeking help on time.
Okay.
We have conceptualized things about being spiritual, being a choice, being within in our own little space and not seeking medical help. Depression is basically a clinical condition, where you have low mood, your energy is very, very low. Things you used to enjoy to do before, you stop enjoying to do them.
At what point?
And it's progressive. So it's not a point of it's not starting. It's not immediate.
Okay.
It happens gradually, and it's induced by stress, by things. I give an example.
Right.
So somebody comes as a postpartum depression.
Right.
After maybe young lady hasn't had the baby before. Get pregnant very early, doesn't understand the rudiments of getting pregnant, there's no support system, and she delivers a baby out, maybe there was prolonged labor and there was a lot of pain.
Right.
And immediately after, during the pregnancy, she's already getting depressed and saying, why am I even pregnant? What's the point? And and she delivers the baby, and immediately after that, she has what we call postpartum blues, and she gets into depression. And every time the baby cries, she gets depressed. Now, that's not a spiritual problem. That's not a choice. It happens because she was young, and the clinical challenge happened to her, and she couldn't understand. She couldn't take it in. And if she does not seek help on time, she might probably kill the baby. So the point is not about just choice. It's about understanding and seeking help on time. So I come and say that you used to laugh a lot before, and you're not laughing, you're not smiling again. Yeah. When you see your baby cry, you are feeling very, very bad. And say, I can't even sleep again. Every time it's crying. So some people throw their babies away. At that point, is seeking medical help that is important, not just seeing things the choice. So, okay, I will explain. You say if first he slaps the baby, second he slaps the baby, you're going to say she can outgrow it, on it's a choice. She can take the positive out of it. No, at that point you take her to a medical doctor, and she's clinically evaluated, and the problem is solved. It's important, please, very, very clearly, that we seek help on time. I'm craving our indulgence. You must not think of these things in the bad light or in the choice light. It's a medical condition. Right. And you see a doctor that can evaluate you. There are medications to give to you that takes out of depression, and you'll be well again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Come on, wonderful. Wow. Well, a lot of deep insights into this, ladies and gentlemen. Quickly, Evans, you heard him.
Yes.
At that point, it becomes progressive. You can't control it anymore, and you need to seek help on time. But you are here saying, look, it's a choice. You need to grow out of it. But the instance he has given has clearly shown that in that scenario, the lady is helpless. At that point, she wants to let go of the baby and live her life. I mean, how do you come into this situation?
Different people react to situations differently.
Okay.
The way you react to situation is not the way I will react to it.
All right.
The way you react to this situation is tied to your temperament and personality. The way I will react to it is tied to my temperament and
personality.
I know and I believe that depression is a disorder. That is not in dispute. But I'm saying that in the mix of that disorder,
there's a way out.
You still have to be positive about it before medical help comes. Okay? And he said something about assessing medical help early to get out from it. Okay? I know people also who have sought medical solutions to their depressive tendencies, and they are still just there. So that is why even the medical doctors will tell you that your mood, your disposition towards the ailment will determine how the drugs will work.
Okay.
They tell you that you need to eat before you take malaria medicine, for example. You need to do this before you take the medication. So if you look at it critically, it is not all about the medication. The patient have a role to play, an internal role that the doctor cannot even see. And that has to do with his inner self. That has to do with his choice and ability to want to survive irrespective of the condition. I understood early enough that challenges are meant to be faced.
Okay.
And you are supposed to confront them. Let me tell you a story. There's a young boy in my class, then in high school.
Yeah.
He is just everything that makes me sad. He's everything that should make me depressed. That is if I understand what depression means at that time.
Yeah.
On a particular day, he went and waylaid me on the road, on a bush path. And there, both of us fought until we had no strength in us any longer. I gave him severe marks. He gave me severe marks. We dropped on the ground.
Okay.
And were rescued by other, passerbys. You understand? What I did is that this is the situation that confronts me. I will rather kill that situation. I will kill you. I will not surrender to the challenge. I will rather kill the challenge or surrender to the challenge. You're
supposed to be a soldier, though.
Yeah, well, my dad is a soldier, if you want to link that. But, but what I'm trying to say is, I have established that I understand the place of medication.
Okay.
I understand the place of medical science. I understand the research. I know that depression is a mental condition, is a medical condition, it's clinical. It should be addressed from that standpoint. But the person who is the patient have a role to play. We can't conclude this discourse by telling the people that the only solution is medical solution. There are certain internal solutions that builds up from your inner person. That when that is developed, it gives you the capacity to want to stand any kind of challenge. Once you are motivated, you are half healed. Okay, any solution that is coming is going to take you out of that situation. And that's exactly what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. Once you are motivated, you are half healed. Now, doctor, we know certain diseases are caused by some virus, whatever, linkage. But depression seems to be so paramount these days. You have people, climb up to a high building and fall off from a cliff. And you begin to process it. I mean, how do you get to a point where you don't think that pain is going to be shattering to fall from that height? I mean, what is the link? What is actually the problem? If it's medical, what is the connection?
I want to just buttress what Afeda said.
Okay.
I didn't say that the total solution is medical alone. It's multidisciplinary, it's everything all together. But fact, a lot of us take out that medical part and think it's not about medicals. Yeah. So somebody, as I said, that is going to a point of pain. I give a story. Somebody has maybe a cancer disease, and he knows that he's probably going to die very soon, and he's not living the life. His life is worthless again. That was the point. I'm going to die really soon, and gets the depression. Right. If there are no medical support, family support, social support, in that pain, in that quagmire, the thing that comes on their mind every day is death. That's what we call it palliative medicine. Okay. So somebody sits up and says he wants to go to the top of the cliff, wants to fall down. At that point, he's not thinking reality anymore. He's not seeing anybody. He's not seeing things again. He's thinking the best thing to do for my life now is take my life. So even as a doctor, you get into depressive mode, emotional depression sometimes because maybe you've lost some patient when you're doing surgery and you're so attached to them, and you don't see psychologists who help you go through that pain, through that period. We call it a mourning period. You go through that pain together. People don't go through it. Are you getting me? So you got to the point he was very depressed, and the only thought in his head is to go jump into the river. At that point, you didn't take all the necessary solutions. If you had sought a doctor and say, okay, these are my challenges. The doctor is not just a doctor of medicine alone, doctor of drugs alone. their support system. It motivates you, as I said, it motivates you. Tells you something that life can be better. Because if you take your life ends.
If you take your life ends. But we're not ending the show. Ready? We'll be right back. And if you're just joining us, this is still the big issue. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, of course. Well, of course, if you're just joining us, this is still the big issue. Well, we're still talking depression, and of course, we have two amazing gentlemen here, and they are doing justice to this very discourse that is very paramount in our society today. Doctor is taking a stand saying depression is clinical and needs medical attention, and of course, Evans is saying, no, come on, you can actually, motivate yourself out of depression. It starts with you first. But I have a very, very short story, Doctor, to share. Now, there's this nuclear family, the father, a mother, and two sons. The father was used to beating up the wife, the mother of these boys, all the time. Now, when these boys grew up with that kind of pattern, at some point, one of the sons started beating the mother as well. Now, they were asked, why are you doing this? You know what the boy said? He says, I watched my father doing the same thing to my mom. So what's there? It's a normal routine. The other boy said, I also watched my father, but he wasn't the one beating the mom now. So you have cases of two boys, one doing the beating, and the other one is taking a backseat and saying, no, I'm not cut out for this. Now, that other guy made a choice not to lay his hands on the mom. Wherever he learned it from, that the mom is precious, so precious not to do that, we do not know. Now, coming from a medical angle, how do you explain that kind of situation?
So,
would you say the other guy has a medical disorder to watch the father beat the mom and he feels it's okay?
No, you won't say that.
Okay.
You would say it's the image of what you have seen for a long time. Impression. So, impression of what your father or your parents have done for you in your life is subliminal. It gets into your mind consciously.
And settles there.
So we're mentored by, my father told me when I was a baby that love is the only currency you can spend. Money is a perception. He told me that thing every day of my life when I was a young boy. It became my lifestyle up until today. So that boy saw, but it's a choice too. So the two boys, you see the cup of water. Is that half cup? Is it half empty or half full?
Okay.
The other guy saw that the life the father was living wasn't worth it. Probably he has other external factors, maybe in the church, maybe in the mosque or whatever it is, or other friends that talk about their mother and their parent on a better light. And the other guy chose to see the father and made that situation come into his mind and settle in his mind and say, okay, that's a good life to live.
Okay.
I make my mother a punching bag. So that's what he chose to do. No, that's not a medical problem.
Okay.
But if he now has other activities like substance abuse, maybe he's not taking some drugs outside with his friend, those can stimulate those activity and make it medical. So because when you take substance, it aggravates your mind, it aggravates your body, and you begin to react to those substance abuse, and that can be medical. So the drugs abuse is now aiding the mind that he has seen. But this other guy might have taken drugs, might be a very normal guy that has done things and he has seen life beyond the father beating the mother.
Okay.
You get my point? So there are environmental factors that can affect that kind of thing too.
All right, environmental factors. Now, thank you. Now, Evans, you heard the way he reacted to the story. Now, if you're going to react to these as well. Now, two boys. Are we going to say nature played a role in this? Like we had the other one who was a bit cool-headed and not the edgy type, but the other guy was the aggressive one, and that was why that took over from him. That was why he was able to take. Would you say the other guy took the trait of the father and started doing what the father was doing, and the other guy felt, no, this is not my lifestyle? How would you react to this story I just gave now?
Well, it is a question of patterns.
Okay.
Okay. In psychology, I read that between 0 to 12 is the formative years of a child.
Correct.
And whatever the child absorbs
at that time defines the next 35 years of his life. And whatever gets into him within that time to define the next phase of his life, okay? Okay.
So when a child absorbs negativity abuse, and then he looks for somewhere in the future to express it. Okay? And when that happens, it damages or influences his perception about life. Then he sees life from that standpoint of violence or calm or tranquility. The influence from the home front is not only the influence there is. There are other platforms, like the school system, the religious system, the other social, the media, okay, other systems and factors also contribute to the makeup
of that person.
Yes, but if the child has taken that informal education wholesomely, which is of violence, and decide to he has a propensity to be violent. He has a propensity to do all that if he's coming from the home front. But I'm saying that the child also can come from that kind of background, but can still turn out well. It goes straight to the point of choice.
Okay.
Even though, as a young person, you will not particularly want to put so much pressure on the issue of choice because of a juvenile delinquency.
The
juvenile factors and influences that controls the mind at that level. But we can say that a child from that kind of background can still turn out well.
Okay.
You understand? And vice versa. It is not correct or wholesomely correct to say that because a child is from a background that is of that nature, therefore, he must turn out that way, even though the influences will be there. You understand?
Okay.
But he can redefine his life. He can still decide, not even if he has a father that committed suicide, okay? And he has all those proclivities and tendencies. He can decide not to take that route.
Okay.
He can decide to leave.
So there is hope.
There is section 33, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, say that everyone have a right to live.
That's it.
So this thing have been legislated. And the government, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria said that you have a right to live and you must keep that life.
Fantastic. Now, doctor, why is it that depression is so rampant in our generation? This was not heard in the past. In the past, it was so minimal, but these days, it's so much, it's on the rise. I mean, why now? Is it that it has always been there and it's manifesting now, or factors have contributed to it? You really must break this down medically now.
So, very, very important question, Mark. I like the approach.
Yeah.
It's been there for a while, but not documented. People not seen, not giving this kind of credence and this kind of publicity. It's been there for a long time. But our lifestyles have changed over time. And things that we're doing, for example, you ask a 22-year-old graduate to go and look for a job, and she's out of school for a long time, no job, and those patterns have increased. Back in the days when you finish medical school or finish university, they give you a card to go and start working. You know, back in the days, all the big men in our country had that kind of opportunity, but we're not having it again. So the environmental stress, the effect of social factors has affected a lot of people. The way we eat, the influence of media.
Right.
People that didn't used to smoke cigarette, now you see a 12-year-old boy trying to smoke cigarette. Those things, those new activities has affected us. So that's why we say they are inducement. You know, depression can be induced, and our environment has induced it. So it's been there for a long time. Right. But now it's very rampant because now it's documented. Somebody wants to take his life, is videoing it. You know, he's doing a selfie. I'm going to die now. Or I'm going to take sniper. Let me video because he wants to show to the world that he's dying because he doesn't love his life. So it's been there before. But back in the days, there was no social media, there was no television, there was no phone. So people just die. But the first thing they should look out for is seeking help on time.
Okay.
As I said, he's not going to the mountains, he's not going to the mosque to start praying. Yeah, it's good to pray, but he's going to see the doctor and have a proper evaluation early. I'll tell you, people that commit suicide, if they're seeing a doctor earlier, and there's a support system, there's a psychologist talking to them, there's a doctor seeing them, monitoring them, talking to them every day, you know, is following them up, they won't have died. I've seen people that have almost died.
That is victory.
Yes,
where they head?
So Mark, I tell you, I've seen people go into depression.
Right.
And they've been followed up couple of months,
Right.
and they've come out of it.
Now, like he mentioned, social media has actually contributed to a lot of suicide and a lot of depression these days. Now, if you're going to actually, take a standpoint from the social media angle, how do people manage the social media so it doesn't affect them? Now, does pattern also contribute to social media, effect on people? Should people have more than one plan so that when one fails, they can go on another, or basically stay on what they love doing and what they know how to do best?
When you talk about the social media, definitely, even the way you use your phone, your temperament, there are people who like to talk on phone. There are people who hate calls. There are people who like to send text messages. There are people who don't send text messages. So you have all those factors. But when you're talking about the social media have contributed in so many ways because there are a lot of pressure on the social media. There's a lot of fake kind of lifestyle. And then most of the time in Nigeria, let me bring it home. Most of the people who come on social media to tell you they are depressed, they're not depressed, they're just poor. You give them some money, you see them, so we need to situate the issues clinically.
You need to clap one more time for that, please. Thank you.
You see, because some persons will tell you that they are depressed. All they need is just maybe a 5,000 naira or a 10,000 or 20,000 naira, or just to solve a problem, school fees or something. And once that is delivered, they're out. You don't need any medical medicine you need to put in their mouth to drink. They are out because you understand? So I think that the economic pressure and economic factors also is playing a role, is defining maybe what I will call social depression.
So are we going to hinge that blame on the government now?
Partly. Okay. Because the law, if you look at section 16, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution, for example, it talks about the government steering the economy in such a way that the commonwealth of the country will be evenly distributed
everybody.
To everybody. You understand?
Yes.
The government have failed in that, okay? Now, you can attribute it to the government. You can also look at the employers of labor. If they could just be a little bit responsible, okay? If they can have the salaries across timelessly, if they can just pay, not owe for 20 months, and then the workers see you going on vacation with your children abroad, they see you driving big cars, and then
they are paid them.
Old. If the employers can be a little bit reasonable, but when you go to the social media, you find a lot of cut down, bullying. You can put a post now, okay, especially if it's religious. If you put an intellectual post, okay, I put up a post talking about poetry, how poetry defines the universal, but history is so particular. There have not been any comment. Nigeria has not commented on that. When you put a religious, something that is religious, a little bit religious, then they come on you, and then they begin to attack and break and all that. So we must begin to respond to this. We must find out because the bullying on the social media alone, even there is a legislation against it. Okay? So we can begin to take advantage of those legislation and enforce.
Thank you very much. Come on, one more time. Put your hands together. Thank you. Now, doctor, I would always take you up from the medical angle now.
I love that.
Now, he said, in most cases, depression has to do with just solving a little problem, and that depression would disappear. Now, you are saying depression is a progressive thing. Now, some people just want to end their life abruptly. They don't just want to stay in this world anymore. While some have had depression over time building up to a point where they felt, look, there is no longer hope. Now, how do you identify the real suicide?
Yes.
How do you identify the ones that are actually born out of depression as to the ones that are just ordinary, that you just take your life for the fun of it, or you just feel, I can't do this anymore? How do you really,
So it's evaluation. It's evaluation. So how will I know that you have a problem of paying school fees if I don't evaluate you? Mild depression. So you come and see a doctor and ask, okay, when did you start feeling very low? When you start having very low mood, low sex drive?
Right.
Some people is just minimal, that they can't make love to their wives again, and they've gotten that kind of mood, and they didn't get help. And the wife tells them that, look at you, just look at you. big for nothing. He does a big man for nothing. And he hears that kind of thing
Over and over
day
again.
of his life for 10 years. And he tells himself, oh boy, then I'm useless. If I can't make my wife happy, what's the point? Let me go die. So it didn't happen once. It's happened progressively. And these are the things happening in our environment now. It's happening everywhere. Are you getting my point? So the point is evaluation, seeking help on time. How would I know that you've had this problem for 10 years? If you don't see me as a doctor, if I don't evaluate, if I don't take your history, how would I know? Somebody got pregnant at 19, and she's 25 now. But for the past 6 years of life, she's been roaming about. And the major trigger, the trigger for her, so in depression we call it trigger. What triggers it? The trigger for us is that she wasn't ready for that baby.
All right, we're about to trigger the debate with the audience right now. Wherever you are, relax, because we are still watching the big... Of course, if you're actually still there, if you're just joining us, this is still the big issue. We are still talking depression, and we're looking at it from just two angles. One, you can motivate yourself out of it, and Evans is taking that stand. Two, it is a medical point of view where it requires help, and you have to seek that help on time. And that is what Dr. Oluwajebute is saying, that you can make it happen by coming close to actually seeking help for better, easing out of that problem. So right now, we are going to be looking at the audience because I know they've got loads of questions ready to ask our fantastic guest right here. Now, who is going to be taking the first stand? Now, what's your name and who you're directing your question to?
To the doctor.
Okay, doctor.
If you say depression is clinical and it needs medical attention, what of someone that is financially depressed? How can the person seek medical attention if he doesn't have money to see a doctor?
Okay, there's nothing like financial depression. It's as is poverty, as Alfred has said, but poverty is one of the things that can cause depression. So it's important we also have family support, and sometimes as doctors we give help to our patients. That's the truth. When you come, there's what we call it social work in the hospital, social work. When you come to the hospital and we evaluate you, we know what the problems really are. We can now point where the problems really are. Some are not just physical, financial problem. But when you have financial problem, now let's say you have malaria and you cannot solve it without money for malaria medicines. Obviously, that malaria we get worse. Start having anemia, have other things that with malaria. That will now cause another depression. So it's important that if it's just financial issues you have, or maybe you have money problems, it's not only about it's only medical problems, financial problems that can cause medical issues.
Okay.
When you come to see us, we can also help you take it to social work and get support for you if you need financial support.
All right, put your hands together. Now, doctor, you said there is nothing like financial depression. Now, there was this story of a young man who took his life because he said his life is not improving. Now, when he died, the friends came out to confess that he always would tell them, one day I'm going to kill myself because it's like my situation is not changing. So, how is that not a financial depression?
So, that problem was not immediate.
Okay.
That guy said it to his friends, and those friends took it for granted.
Okay.
If those friends they've taken that guy to his clinical psychologist and sat him down, that it's not about not having money that you should take your life. There's no point, because money doesn't define your life. Your life is worth living. If the friends didn't take it for granted, so that's the point. Because your friend can give you some $5, some $10, they take you go to a beer parlor, they drink with you. They don't identify what clinical problem you're having.
Right.
So the finances might be the trigger, but the other things that's making him have problems, low mood, low self-esteem, it's not financial.
Okay.
Sometimes you think it's financial, it doesn't stop there. The other things, financial thing is a trigger, but it has caused other things in the body.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, you have a question?
Mr. Laniwaju,
Okay.
my question is for Evans.
Okay, Evans.
We have a number of Nigerian youth who are watching this, and they don't even have finance to go and see doctor to take care of their depressed state. What are the natural ways at which one can control or conquer such depression? And is depression conquerable?
All right, you heard the question.
Well, yes.
Good.
I think, again, my premise, I started from the angle that you can actually motivate yourself out of depression. But now you are asking the question, someone who is already depressed and then he has no financial capacity to
see a doctor.
seek medical assistance or help. What are the natural ways to come out of depression? Well, I'm going to say that, first of all, even if you don't have money, share your problems, okay, to people who are closely related to you. That is one of the things that because sometimes when we bottle up these things, it gets to a climax where the brain can no longer hold, the level of pressure, internal pressure and dissipation. Okay, so it's better you share this problem. Some people will tell you that you see, it's controversial, see a pastor or see an imam. And these pastors and these imams sometimes contribute so much to the problem. Because I have a situation where you have a young girl who got pregnant at a tender age. She can't tell the parents, she can't tell anybody. She just went to her pastor and I told the man that this is my problem. She said, how dare you? How dare you? Because I think that it is better to see a counselor, a professional counselor, than even though it is not all religious persons or clergy that will take the position I just explained. There are good ones who will also address the issues positively.
Yeah.
But there are some of them who
don't
actually understand how to go about it, who believe that everybody must have the same moral frequency and moral fecundity, which is we all know that you can't have the same level of moral leaning or alignment. I mean, and that is then also you could change your environment. Sometimes environment will also impact on your understand your level of, and then read more. Okay, you can go online, read more about how to survive, how to live, learn a skill, develop capacity. You see, because sometimes poverty is self-induced. And I was going through the Holy Writ one day, and I saw something about in the Holy Writ that stunk me. It said the rich man's wealth is a strong city, and the destruction of the poor is their poverty.
That's it.
So
you're not clapping for that?
So when you say the rich man's wealth is a strong city, and the destruction of the poor is their poverty, it means that passage has already defined depression. The B part has already defined depression. In other words, poverty is destructive, and that is what, because if you now want to look at it deeply, you find out that there's a very thin line between poverty and madness.
Okay.
They're even the same thing.
All right.
It's just different version of existence. So I think that the problem we're having in Nigeria, Africa, on depression is largely economic. I think if you go to civilized countries, they commit suicide for other reasons, so many reasons.
Okay, for Africa, it's economic. You have a story you want to share? At some point you got depressed? Yeah. Please hand the mic over to him. Thank you very much. What's your name, sir? Who are you? Okay. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Adioshun.
Okay, good. Let's hear you.
My personal experience was when WAEC cancelled my result. And that time I was in Part 4. And I was equally the president of my faculty.
Wow.
Coincidentally, that day we were doing orientation. I was admonishing the new students that they shouldn't come with fake results, or knowing that I was having a bombshell. So afterwards, my school officer called me and said that I have issues, I should go to the Senate. So when I got there, I saw my name, I said, it's not possible. It was just as if the world
came crashing down on you.
That was it. So I had to start going up and down,
Okay.
going to work office with my uncle. And that very point in time, my old man too was ill. So I
everything
was
was
helpless. So at the end of the day, they released my results and I got my certificate.
Okay.
But within that few weeks, let me say within a month,
You were
I
not
was on
yourself.
myself.
Okay. So,
And
so within that period, did you seek any medical help? Did you use any drug?
I wasn't even thinking about medical.
Okay.
But what I was seeking then
Spiritual.
was both spiritual and social support from friends and family. I think I need to give a kudos to my parents, my ex-girlfriend then.
Okay.
I was not really spiritual then. She was the one that just took me to the church and we heard ourselves and we started praying.
Wow.
I think I just got that comfort, that spiritual comfort, that's why I could release my results. Yes, they released it.
And you broke up with this girl? What happened?
In the course of things in life, some people.
Things happen.
Yeah, things happen. So I don't want to go far.
You don't need to go.
So the issue is that I think I'll continue to celebrate her.
Okay.
And I can't forget her for that. Okay. So the issue still remains that Jumoke Adileke, yeah, she's in the US now. So I think one of the major solutions is by giving oneself self-affirmative statements. Never giving up.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, never giving up. Thank you.
Doctor, you heard his story.
Yes, I did.
He didn't use any drug. At that point in time, he wasn't even thinking medical. His mind was somewhere else. Now, how do you address this? Because you emphasize that when you are in a very crazy quagmire, you need to seek help early.
He sought help, but not medical.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
He sought help, but not medical.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are mild depression, as what Alfred has said. You have poverty, you're poor, and like you read some kind of stories in the past that there are two guys praying in a church, and one was praying for 500 naira, and he was praying and he was eating his head on the floor, and one guy was asking God for 10 million, and the guy said, "Why are you disturbing God? Let me solve your problem, yeah." And he gave him 500, and the guy went away, and that was answered prayer. So it's important that we understand what kind of gravity of the challenge really is. His problem wasn't very, very big. It was maybe it was a technical error, but he already magnified the problem. He thought it was spiritual. Sometimes we don't evaluate things very well in our environment as young people. And I like some things that Alfred was saying about our thought processes, our understanding, our mind being very positive. So you're not thinking the challenge is a problem, you're thinking of solutions to the challenge. For example, so you said you sat down, they took out the result. It's very simple. Why did you? It's just asking questions. Why I done these things 4 years ago? Why isn't I cancel the result? It's not spiritual. Sometimes we must not magnify fear. Let's magnify faith. Because when you magnify fear, you give room for those depressions.
You must not magnify fear. You must magnify faith. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Have you answered it?
My name is Abdurrahman. A person whose depression emanated from several criticism, either in school, by the dean, by the lecturer, or at home, by the parents and the peers. In that regard, can we attach that, or can the way out be a clinical solution?
I like that question. Thank you very much. Two things we need to understand in medicine. Everything is not drug. There's what we call lifestyle medicine, and there's clinical psychology, where we just talk to people and help them go through problems together. So medicine is all-encompassing. Are you getting my point? So at that point when you have that problem, or maybe when people are when you are criticizing you, low self-esteem, as a young boy, I had a very big head. They used to call me a monkey. But my mother told me, he said, if they call you a monkey, but your head is, their heads are very small, but they're not as smart as you are. You're smarter than them. So if they call you a monkey, that's their business. So it's important how we positively look at challenges. So Is the cup half empty or half full? Are you getting my point? So I'm not saying it's just drugs that you give. As a doctor, we give what we call social support. We talk to you. So if I tell you your medical challenges and I give you full explanation, you will get better. I tell you how I got malaria, and I tell you the prognosis. I talk with you, not to you, not at you. I talk with you, so we can both talk together. So those guys that are looking down on you,
criticizing
you up, criticizing you, and if it's progressive, you get into depression, one, and you start having other physical pain.
Thank you very much. Now, gentlemen, you guys have been fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Now, quickly right now, you have to ask him a question, and you would have to ask him a question as well. So I don't know who's going to go first.
Let me go first.
Yes, of course. Who's going to go first?
Let me go.
Evans, if you have a question for him, fine. Let him. You are for the opinion that you have to motivate yourself out of a situation. It's not necessarily a medical thing or whatever. So if you have a question for him, fantastic. I would love it.
I have a question for him. While he was speaking, you talked about. You gave an example of a man in a lorry that was into rice business, and he had this supplier. And then a rival came from nowhere and slashed the price by half.
Correct.
Which crashed the entire, and that night he died.
Correct.
I want to ask you, because you said that depression is progressive, and then before it leads to suicide. In that man's case,
yes,
you said it was just the failure. No, wait, you said what orchestrated his own
death
was the failure of business that night. So I want to ask whether is that in line with your earlier thought, or have you retracted from your earlier thought on this issue?
No. What I think, because when I show, I can't give you the whole story. It's a long story, yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's he had some medical challenges before, So that was just. It wasn't that it was that thing that killed him, but that was a trigger. So there's always a trigger. He was his old guy, medically not medically fit, hypertensive, diabetic. So obviously, has that medical issue background. But that just triggered it to make him die. He didn't commit suicide. He died because of shock. So So when we say depression is progressive, it's progressive. So there's mild depression, moderate depression, severe depression. So it goes that pattern. So from very, very little things like poverty to big things like you don't have a baby, to big things like you are sent out of work, to big things like you're living with a cancer patient, or you can imagine somebody came to see me today in the office and said you got married 2012, and you got married 2012, young lady, and in 2013 husband had cancer of the liver. So just 1 year. So you've craved for this beautiful wedding and everything, and just in 1 year your husband started. She said she was living in depression when she sought help. So it's important we understand clearly that it's clinical.
Okay.
And it's progressive.
You've answered it. Fantastic. Are you satisfied?
Yes.
This is my question for you, Alfred.
Yes. Okay.
Now, a lot of young people now they don't understand what depression really is, and they're living false lives. Social media, mentorship, people slipping things into your DM and tell you, I can do this, I can do that. And that's not what they really are. How would you help young people now, tell them about positivity and being real in this social media age, being real?
Yeah, I think it was Pythagoras who said that man is the measure of all things. I will recommend, even though our educational system is collapsing, I will recommend that the youths, I will recommend personal development for the youth. The youths, we need to read more. There's a book I'm reading now. The first expression the author wrote there is, once you open the book, you are not special. You are not. He went to the next sentence and said, you are dispensable. He keeps, because we have all this hype. You are this generation, you are great. Religion play that on, And then when you get to the social media, the artists, when you get to the media, rather, the artists that the young people look up to, the musicians, the comedians, and all that. They have this lifestyle that they present to society to make young people feel that
That's the norm.
yes, that's the norm, that there's wealth everywhere, okay? And then some of them are not really, some of them dropped out of school to pursue their dreams, and then they have become very big, okay, influence students, young people who are in school. Some of them drop out of school to do internet fraud, okay? Some of them are doing drugs, selling crack and all that, and they're making it so big. Some of them join politics, followed and all that, and they're making it so big. And those who are following the seemingly sober paths, or the path that is slow gratification, those ones feel thrown out. So what I think the youth should understand is that you are not in competition with anybody.
All right, that's it. You are not in competition with anybody. That answers your question, right?
Yes, it does.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back, and when we come back, we'll be coasting home. This is still the big issue. Well, of course, this is more like victory at last, but we're not done here yet. And if you were just joining us, too bad. You have missed out on a chunk. But not to worry. This particular part just might, give you that inspiration to always remember that if it is not big enough, it has no business here. And that is why this is always the big issue. So right now, quickly, Doctor, one word to coast home. Very short and precise. What have you got to tell Nigerians from the medical angle of depression now?
It's very important that all of us in Nigeria take mental health issues very, very importantly. It's not a spiritual challenge, it's not a physical challenge. When you feel any mental issue affecting you, work stress-related issues, please, for the goodness sake, seek help on time. These things have solutions medically, and you can get help on time. Thank you very much.
All right, Evans, I know your standpoint. Final word before we run.
Well, I would say don't take your life. It's unnecessary. Keep your life. Things will get better. No condition is permanent. Thank you and God bless.
All right, very quickly, we have a ritual here when we're done, and it's for the both of you to shake hands, because it's to say you guys are satisfied with what happened, and yes, come on, you guys come, shake hands, yes. Come on.
Thank you. That was very good.
Come on, put your hands together for them. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, as it is right now, you have to follow the conversation on our social media handles at TVC Connect and TVC News Nigeria. My personal handle is Mark Otabo, one word, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Engage me with the hashtag The Big Issue, and definitely we'll be, on a good path. So if you're thinking of embarking on an intellectual quest, always remember to tune in to The Big Issue. Thank you very much. Peace.